Bears fans, what is going on? This is your boy Jordan JC back again on the Chicago Bears Breeze, and we got a good one today because I wanted to get into a little bit briefly about Keenan Allen, and specifically the question on today's table is, do we keep Keenan Allen after this year? That was a question I really didn't ask myself initially because, I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, if you saw the very first maybe month and a half of Keenan Allen's production, you would have easily said no. You've easily said, you know what, we can move forward. We have the pieces here. We got DJ, we got Rome. We even have other receivers waiting in the wings like a Tyler Scott, maybe a Colin Johnson. We can also look to the draft to get a receiver 3. But now I'm kind of pausing that question. I'm saying, you know what? With the way he has actually produced recently, currently over the last month, the Bears' offensive schemes and offense just in general seemingly getting on the same page and actually looking like they're actually better than what they were in the beginning when nobody looked like they were being used in Shane Waldron's, whatever that was, offensive schemes. Now I'm going to say I think there's a world where you can actually keep Keenan Allen. However, there's things that have to be negotiated. There's things that have to be more so reasonable on his side of things. Right now, Keenan Allen's contract, I believe he, from 2020 to 2024, he signed a 4-year, $80,100,000 contract with the Los Angeles Chargers at that time. And so it's ending in this season, but that's $20 million right there. Are you saying that maybe Keenan Allen wants to get that or more? Well, or does he look at his stat and does he look at his production and say, you know what, at this point, being age 32, going into his age 33 season in 2025, does he get more reasonable, maybe give a team discount, understanding, you know what, I got guys in front of me that are younger and that are going to be utilized more, that are going to be the go-to guys more than I am. And so does he say, hey, there's a world where I understand my role now. I understand I'm comfortable in wide receiver 3. I'm comfortable with not getting as many receptions. I understand this is the twilight of my career. And so I'll take less. Now, ideally, that would be awesome for us as Bears fans. That's what we want to hear. But we know that sometimes players, and rightfully so, are trying to get as much money as possible. This is a business at the end of the day, and you want to get paid as much as possible. Now, that doesn't always mean that you're going to get paid what you think you want based off of your value as well, because the reality is he's a wide receiver that is past his prime at this point. You've seen Keenan Allen continue to be a safety net, that guy that you can go to, that Caleb Williams has consistently relied upon, whether it be third downs, whether it be times where they've even had to go on fourth downs to a receiver to get the chains moving forward. It seems as if he is still a guy that you can be very trustworthy with. However, there are times where he's also dropped the ball in unnecessary situations where he's wide open. He's created space from his defender, and the ball hits him right in the numbers. And I've seen Keenan Allen drop the ball, or at least in his body range, and he reaches out and he doesn't catch it. He doesn't get it, keep it in or reel it in. And so those are the moments where I'm saying, okay, you have to understand where you are at in your career, and that maybe there's a step that was lost with you. Maybe there's a little bit of a scaling back of understanding. Hey, I know where I'm at now in the reality of my NFL life. I know where I am at now in the reality of being a receiver in this league. I'm not young anymore. You know, and you still have things you can rely on. We still know Keenan Allen is a premier and extremely good elite route runner. We've seen that on display. His footwork is immaculate. One of the touchdowns, I remember, he juked the guy out of his shoes and easily had Caleb right there, right in his face for a walk-in touchdown. And so there are things that Keenan Allen still can bring to the table. He's just not an old guy that you just have as a mentor in the locker room, maybe kind of like a Mercedes Lewis. But interesting enough, speaking of Mercedes Lewis, this is where I got this from. He joined the Big Dog Show podcast with Mercedes Lewis and David Kaplan, and that's where they were talking about the possible future plans of Keenan Allen involving the Bears. And he indicated that nor his agent or himself have had any conversations with general manager Ryan Poles, but did offer up where he would like to be in 2025. He plainly said, I will say this, I am not playing, it's Chicago or LA. meaning he's not joking when he says it. It's either Chicago or LA. So 50-50 chance he either wants to stay here or go back to where he was. And that's understandable, right? You don't want to kind of get just thrown all over the place. Obviously, his family and he's become accustomed to living in LA because that was his only home before he got here. And so it makes sense that he wants to kind of simplify that list of priorities or that list of desirable destinations. Either go back home to LA or stay here in Chi-Town. And so that's also a good thing on our side. So maybe he realizes, you know what, if I don't get what I want in LA and they're not paying me maybe the amount that maybe I think they should, unless they just want to bring me back because he is a legendary player in the Chargers organization and on that football team, one of the best receivers to ever do it there for that organization. Or does he just close out his career here with the Bears, depending on the number? And so that's what I'm saying is it all depends on that number, that contract, because the Bears are going to be looking to have a lot of money in salary cap in order to make some of these next moves that they need to make to better this team, whether it be on the defensive line, whether it be on the offensive line, maybe picking up another safety or cornerback, maybe picking up another running back for depth, whatever the case may be. There's going to be a lot of decisions, and Keenan Allen's money that's coming off is going to be part of that. And so when they dive back in those conversations with them and say, hey, we want to negotiate with you. We like the way that you've ended off the season. You clearly are someone who is a great mentor for a guy like Roma Dunze and even DJ Moore in the locker room. You've taught him some things that I think will allow him to go far in his career. We want to keep you. What are those conversations looking like? What does that number look like? What is the baseline for keeping Keenan Allen? I think those are all the most important things in trying to help in trying to retain someone of his services. Because I don't think he's just a guy that's going to be a locker room guy. I think he will have enough talent where he will age gracefully in the sense of a Larry Fitzgerald, or even the way D Hop is performing in Kansas City. It's really just about the being in the right situation, right? And I think if you pair him up with a talent like Caleb Williams and all of these other great players that have to be given attention to in games, I think Keenan Allen will have a baseline of a very good role on this team where he still will matter, and he will matter a lot. Because I mean, when you have someone that you can rely upon on those most important downs to keep the ball moving and to get into the red zone, to get into the reach of a touchdown or even a field goal, to actually score on each possession, that's important. You need those guys around. It's not to be understated that Keenan Allen can be an important piece for the Bears. And so just want to get you guys' thoughts on that. Do you think that Keenan Allen has done enough, especially currently, to be kept on the team? What do you think it will take? What number would you throw out there as far as being okay with giving him, whether it be under 20 million, or would you give him 20 million? For my marbles, obviously, I would go a little bit lower than that. I think I know Keenan Allen understands where he's at in his career. And so maybe you get a discount. Maybe you get something that surprisingly the Bears will be okay with. And so we will see going forward whether or not Keenan Allen will stay with this team. It is still good to know that he's saying he'd prefer to stay here or go back home to LA. And so we got a 50-50 shot. We'll have to see what other areas have to be addressed in order to make that a reality. But obviously, I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. I'll be down there in the comment section as always. And as always, if you like this video, show some class, comment, like, subscribe, share this video with others. I see you guys on the next Bears Breeze.